Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3 and Category 4.
He is on a bit of a mission at the moment and he's put in the early attack, so Mitch Ferry is the rider to first stretch the legs of this Category 1 race field. 18.9 coming up for is our Category 4 pack, and that is the lead group on the road today. So over 8 kilometres separating our Category 1 pack with the lead on the road.
Eduardo Parisi in the blue of Category 3, who has caught the leaders in Category 4. He's now the blue locomotive at the head of the red train behind. David Talbot now attacking again. He's gone on to the front. He closed down Mr. X100. He's attacked off the front again. He's got the power down and he's looking to really put the pressure on here. That was classic Knudsen, wasn't it? Coming up on the group, put in the attack, put in the dig, get every little bit of advantage you can. Really use that confusion. He's gone hard here. He has continued to push here. He's looking very, very good. He's really has pushed onwards. The question will be, can he pull that group back in front and push himself up? Michael Knudsen, after hiding out of the way, he came out on the mountain to play. He's come up here and ascended, and he's going to be on the top step because it's Michael Knudsen who wins qualifier race number 2. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 3, our final qualifier before we move on to our month finals. It's 19th of March and it is an absolutely cracking week on MyWhoosh already because we've just had an amazing women's race. Brilliant to see. We're not going to give any spoilers out on the race, but please do make sure you subscribe, make sure you watch it and have a look because it was an absolute cracker. Calling the action with me on that and here in the studio once again is Emma Martin. My name's Matt Payne, so I'm going to be bringing you all of our action here today. Emma, you're a regular DS, a rider, competitor. We have seen some different courses, we've seen some different racing, and the same's true of our men's races we saw in the women's.
Yeah, and we have seen some different courses, we have seen some different racing, and the women have just given us a cracking race on their course today. So really looking forward to seeing what the men can do today. Very different course to last week, where we saw an hour and 18 minutes for the win on what was a 15-kilometre climb at the end of last week's race. This week, the course is a little different. So taking a look at this week's course, we have a race distance of 45 kilometres and an elevation, I'm going to say this, of only 506 metres after last week. Now, that climb this week comes in 4 different ways. So 4 climbs this week. The first 3, not much for a gradient to talk about, really. So the steepest gradient on the first 3 climbs, an average of 2%. We will see steeper sections, but those first 3 climbs, quite innocuous. Not really until we get to 36.8 kilometres, where we see the Category 3 climb that is the mountaintop finish today. So that climb 6.2 kilometres in length, an average gradient of 5.2%. But as you can see, it's a stepped climb. There are some very, very steep sections on this climb. Riders will see it kick to 12-13% before they get to that checkered flag at the top.
Yeah, going to be really interesting. And of course, along the way, we have 7 discrete segments where we'll be seeing our riders at times through that segment alone. And that will give us an indication of what's happening, maybe confirm the action, maybe spring up some surprises, things that we've not managed to see. Because, of course, we have 4 race categories racing simultaneously. It's a staggered start with our Category 4 off in front, our Category 1 the last to go. And they're all going to be challenging this course. They're going to be seeing what they can do. You can see our 4 categories in front of you. Category 1 in yellow. In green, it is our Category 2. In blue, it's Category 3. And in red, it is Category 4. So Category 4 riders will be the first to go clear. They have a 5-minute head start on Category 3. Then there is a 10-minute gap between 3 and 2, and then a further 5 minutes to Category 1. Category 4 riders, well, it is going to be very interesting to see what they can do today. What can they pull out on this course, which is a really tough course. And if we take a look in here, a good pack in here, Emma, of our riders, and some very familiar names and 1 or 2 new ones.
Yeah, so Category 4 today, those riders in those red jerseys. This is our smallest race field today, so 15 riders on the start sheets today in Category 4, and some really good riders, you know, Acevedo, Agudelo, Calangad, Cabanata, Suarez, Burnett, Goldburn, Kanth, all these riders in here, you know, all capable of top 5. Now, one thing to note in Category 4, Suarez, Acevedo, and Calangad have had 1, 2, 3 in both qualifiers.
Well, that's going to be interesting if they've managed that in the 2 qualifiers so far this month. What can they do in qualifier number 3? Remember, 2 verified qualifying rides required to get into our finals, where our team prizes as well as our individual prizes are up for grabs. So the riders are lined up and ready to go. So Category 4 here on qualifier number 3, our first category to go. Await that signal, the clock counts down and away they go. We are in with Andres Acevedo as we kick off from the start. A very quick transition from the pens into our course proper, and our riders already are kicking very, very quickly out and away. You can see on your screens that the riders' power top left-hand side of the screen. We're seeing well over 300 watts being put down to get clear from that start and to try and get this pace moving very quickly. So the riders clear. We're in with Tom Goldburn up on the front of this group. And if you're new to MyWhoosh, let's take you through the screens and what you're seeing at the moment. So top left-hand side of your screen, you can see the rider data. So this is the watts coming out from Tom Goldburn. They're in black when he's on the front and taking the wind. He's in green when he's taking draft. You can see he's currently got a revs, a cadence there of just over 80, just dropping below 80 now to 79, a heart rate in the 160s, and has covered just over half a kilometre with the clock ticking as well as the speedometer, and that is on the top left-hand side. Top right-hand side is the route. It's a sat-nav route of what's coming up in front. It gives you a clear indication of who's there. Our riders indicated by the dots. The rider that we're watching is the largest dot, and you will see that fracture. It will be a long line. It could be one big blob. That is really a great guide of what's happening in the race. We have our profile directly underneath. You can see the riders on the flat heading in towards the climb and how far they've travelled along the course, currently covering 1 of 45 kilometres. The right-hand side, though, is the key part here that has changed slightly this week, and one of the great upgrades on the ever-evolving platform that is MyWhoosh, and that is basically that when a rider is putting in extra power over the norm, you are seeing them going and digging deep. You will see one of 2 colours come on. So the rider that we're watching is in purple. You can then see the riders who are putting extra power down. They are either in that golden colour or they're into a deep red colour. And that really does indicate they're going into the red. It's the same for all categories, but it shows you who is going over and above at any given moment. So a really data-rich environment for our riders who are on the way. And Emma, this pack, we don't need the data to tell us. They're moving well as a pack.
They are moving really well as a pack, Matt. They are stretching and coming back together again. It's like a bit of an accordion, this start for this Category 4 race. Stretch, come back, and look at that, stretching again. Now, this is keeping the pace quite high. We've seen speeds of 35, 40 kph at the moment. And as you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen, they are coming up to that first climb of the day, which comes at around 1.7 kilometres. So not very much of a flat run-in on the course today before we get to our first climb.
And each of these climbs, although the first 3 climbs are not significant in terms of being a Category 3, 2, 1 horse category climb, they are big enough to cause an attack, to cause a break in the group, and to maybe see somebody who's better on a climb.
Yeah, they will make racing interesting, and they will allow different tactics to come into play today.
So our category 4 riders are going into the first of those discrete segments. It's our category 3 riders who are down on the start line. They're going to be the next group. You can see the distance increasing for category 4, but category 3 will be the next group who hit the road in pursuit. Remember, a 5-minute gap between the riders. So our race field in category 3 down here. You can see the riders lined up, ready to go. And we have our Cannibal Race team in here today in category 3 with Eduardo Parisi and Paolo Cusimano in there, and both very quick riders.
They are indeed absolutely regularly part of the top 5 racers in this category. Now, category 3 today, 28 riders on the start sheets alongside this one team. So looking for some really good racing today. We have in the mix Agudelo, we have Eckersley, we have Staples, Gill, Ramirez, Ruiz, Dadson. All of these alongside Parisi having had top 5s so far this month. Now, 9 riders taking top 5s in the last 2 races. So as you can see, real strength and depth in this category 3 field.
And it is a growing race field here in category 3. So they're all lined up and ready to go.
They are indeed ready to go as Gill sits on the start line, turning his legs, awaiting the go, and the go has gone. For the start of Category 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, we are qualifier race number 3, and this race field are out of the start pens and onto the course proper already in one big group. Now pushing on at the front, the riders continue to push, and we're in with Astorga. Absolutely Rodel Astorga putting in a storming start here to ensure a fast pace in this category 3 race. The other riders chasing hard as Martinoli has gone over the top. Maggot is there as well as Mamba. Dadson is putting in some power as well to ensure he goes with this group. We're starting to see 1 or 2 riders drop off the back of that pack already because this start has been hot.
Really hard start here from these riders in category 3. The race opening up already, and you can see that nobody wants to get left behind. The pressure coming on, and I think, Emma, that's because of the pace, isn't it, that they want to take. They know that they've got to get out. They can't be distanced early because they'll never see this group again, wherever they are, even on a climb.
Well, I think this is a course today, Matt, where each of our earlier categories realises they could stay lead riders on the road. You know, there is, I said, only 506 metres of elevation in this course, but this is relative because on some of the other courses we are up in the 900s or 1,000 metres of climbing on the course for the same distance. So potentially half the amount of climbing in this course as we see in some of the other courses. And that gives our earlier starting categories the incentive to go hard from the gun because there's a massive opportunity for them to stay out front a very long time on the road.
And do you think that is aided or hindered by the fact that we don't have, we've seen previously maybe one very small climb, a long runner, then a 15k climb at the finish. We have here 3 climbs soaking up some of that ascent before we even get to the final climb. Does that hinder the group staying clear, or does that help the group to stay clear?
Well, I think in terms of the profile of this course today, it's highly likely we will see these groups stay clear until that final climb. Now, let's not forget, Category 4 get a 20-minute head start on Category 1. Category 3 get a 15-minute head start on Category 1. On the type of terrain we've got today, where, yes, we've got 3 early climbs, but nothing that is really going to trouble our earlier categories. You know, it's only going to be that final climb really where there is the potential for a catch, because I think unless Category 1 and Category 2 really go hard from the gun, these categories stand a really good chance of staying out and maybe even taking the win on the road with no catch from Category 1, purely because they may have a big enough gap going into the bottom of that climb.
Well, it will be interesting to see, because that really does go against my gut feel looking at the course profile, which is that because it is a hard day, it's going to favour the harder riders, the stronger riders. We will see when we make our way into the finish. We're in at the moment with Category 3. So Category 3 is the latest of our riders to set off down onto the course. You can see really are moving here today, and already we're seeing some breakup. This is a big race field. How many riders do we have in Category 3 at the start, Emma?
28 riders on the start sheets today.
And how many riders in that pack now?
Not 28.
There's definitely not 28. I'd go for maybe 20. 22 in there at the absolute most. I think we will soon find out as we go through the segments. But when we are looking at the moment, that is not a huge pack, and it's definitely telling the pace, the pressure that's being put on early is definitely causing these riders to feel it. We're on that climb. It's a 2.5% gradient at the moment, and that is going to be doing some damage. Martinoli at the moment is continuing to put the pressure on the front. A lone leader just starting to stretch his legs, and we've seen Martinoli do this on the climbs, haven't we? He really does like to put the pressure down and set a tempo and make the others follow.
It does indeed, and you know what, sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't, but I'm thinking that group are going to bring him back quite quickly, because Nowak, Phillips, Kennup, Cusimano are all pushing their Staples is in there as well. I think they want to bring him back and not let him go this early.
Well, I think that should be the case. And here on MyWhoosh, there's lots of chances to ride on these courses, because all these courses are available. You can jump onto the very many worlds, the different courses, different routes, different sections, ride different sections repeatedly as well, so that you get to know exactly how that race feel is on the ride. So do make sure you jump on and get plenty of practice, in particularly true if you're coming to race on the Sunday Race Club, or you're going to ride on the championships that are coming up. And of course, the championships not all that far away. The registration opening at the end of the month for the MyWhoosh championships, and the riders who have ridden the platform, who've ridden on the courses and raced, a distinct advantage, I think, because of the sheer advantage it gives you, the sheer benefit of knowing how to push and when to push.
Yeah, understanding the technical nature of riding on MyWhoosh is absolutely essential, and we see that time after time, that it's not often the strongest rider that wins, it's the one who knows what they're doing technically. And that is so important, because the momentum you can gain on segments here on MyWhoosh and putting in the efforts and where you place the timing is absolutely critical. We've seen riders lose races because they get their timing technically wrong.
And that is reflective of riding on the road. It is a very true platform to riding out on the roads wherever you are, and you can see that. You can see the work that's having to be done now to close down Martinoli. And if you were to be watching races in terms of long road races, a race finish, you would see the same dynamic. The way that the pack will string out a push to chase somebody back, to close down Martinoli there has been made. Kennup comes up over the top, it strings the group out. All of those responses are very, very true. And I think if you spend a lot of time on a very gamified platform, you can find yourself at a disadvantage when you come to a very true to outdoor riding platform like this. And that does make a big, big difference. So great to see our riders in this category continuing to push onwards here. And you can see at the moment the gap on the road is going to be just over 2.5 kilometers, 2.6k between category 3 and category 4. They're on the bottom left and right of your screen respectively. The left and right hand side at the top there are categories waiting to go, category 1 and 2. And I think this longer gap here between categories 2 and 3 really ramps up the pressure on the later two categories.
Yeah, I think it does, but I think what this is telling us today is that Category 4 and Category 3 have both started with intention, Matt. The intention to stay as leaders on the road, because that is a good gap and a good distance between these categories at the moment, and it seems to be being maintained. Now, I think by the time Category 2 starts, Category 3 are going to be well over 5 kilometres down the road.
And we're going to see at least 7.5, if not 8 kilometres under the wheels of category number 4. So the gaps continue to open between our riders in the start pens and the riders out on the road, category 3 and 4, moving at pace. And the size of the pack here is very, very telling as well. So as they move on through, you can see the riders continuing to push here. Category 3, we've got another move. Yet again, Martinoli trying to stretch this ride out, really stretching the paces on a slight descent, but they have snowballed over the top and are now picking up the pace. The speed is going to increase. It's a long, gradual downhill. 0.1%. And you think you don't need to have the 0.1s, but because this is so true to running outdoors, every little part of that gradient counts, doesn't it?
Oh, completely and utterly. And it's really interesting to see how our riders use the downhills on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. You know, it is part and parcel of that technique we talked about earlier. Some riders use them as small micro rests and start to drop the watts and bring the heart rate down. Others, particularly strategically at certain points during the race, really use them to push on and get that momentum.
So 2 categories underway, categories 1 and 2 waiting, and it is category 2 who will be our next riders to start. As we move through these race fields, they do get bigger and bigger, and that's definitely true here. We have our teams back with us. Once again, no team prizes, but all of our riders want to take away the honour of taking away the win in the team competition. Fat and Furious and the UAE Falcons are both here in terms of teams, and a even bigger race field than we've seen previously.
Yeah, so 41 riders on the start sheets today with those 2 teams. It is a big race field with some great names in here. So Abello is in here, Simeo, Bogren, Oviedo, Mr. G, who was strong last week as well. And in qualifier race number 1, Tom Gates is in here, Sebastian Wolf is in here, Astorga is in here. So looking forward to some really good racing.
So our riders away in category number 2. Let's see if they can live up to expectation on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. They hit the course, they go around these turns, and already this group is being strung out. There are plenty of riders chasing after our leader. And at the moment, Moises Baltazar has got the head of our category 2 start.
Wow, what a start from Baltazar. Absolutely nailing it from the gun and pushing off of that start line. So Baltazar currently at 6.8 watts per kilo. That is absolute intention, Matt. It's his intention to ride away from that pack and absolutely make this from the gun.
So Moises Baltazar currently leading out the chase, coming from De Jesus at the moment. So De Jesus is the rider who is coming across the gap, or trying to, but at the moment Baltazar is keeping the pace. Now the rest of the group have got to make a decision here. I think Lopez has decided, yeah, his numbers go up in to the yellow there. He's decided he wants to be in this action early. He wants to get across that group. He doesn't want to let anybody go. Moises Baltazar is a dangerous rider to let loose on the front. We have seen him in the mix now. Bruno Simeo, you can just see that number going into the red. Kamelkan's doing exactly the same. Looks like Esteban doing the self-same thing. You can see the responses coming, and you can see it indicated there with those colours on the right-hand side of your screen, who is pushing in to their higher watts, into their higher performance levels here on the platform. So as we move on with our category 2, already having covered 1.15k, this group have a lone leader, and that gap is now at 4 seconds. They are pursuing the riders on the right-hand side of your screen. This is category number 3. Category number 3, interesting to see Cristiano Kenup, a regular rider on MyWhoosh, really is pushing on here, and he's keeping the pace high here as these riders come through. They go onto his wheel, but you can see he slots back in for half of that race field, front third. Really critical not to get caught behind a gap, and that is one of the things on this race route with the continual rise and then drop. You have to be very wary. If you are on the wrong side of a gap, you've got to put in a massive effort to get back across. And it might not be you, and probably won't be you, who lets that gap go. So if a rider can't hold the wheel, if they drop back, they lose the draft. If you're in a group behind, you could be disadvantaged, and you've got to be right on the wheels. And that's one of the reasons I think on this course we're going to see a very high pace on the way through. Nobody's going to let up on the pace, but that's also true of category 1. The only riders left still to start, they are going to be chasing all of these groups. But I tell you something, Moises Baltazar has got no worries about anybody else. He is sat there. He is time trialing his way away here, currently at about 6 seconds. And you can see that gap has grown.
Yeah, it's grown indeed. So it's now out to 6-7 seconds with Cardenas and Abello and Simeo, Mr. G, the riders chasing hard on the front of that pack. But Baltazar is out and Baltazar is clear. This pack can see him going round that corner in front of them. And the chase is on.
The chase is well and truly on here. And for me, really, really telling that these riders are trying to push to close the gap down. So 3 categories away, categories 4, 3, and 2, which leaves us category 1 on that start line. The category 1 riders will be our last riders to go. And this really is a who's who of world-class esports riders. We got some amazing teams in here. So you can see we have the UAE clan team who were so strong last week. On the Rivet one, we've got Italian Gelato and the Yorkshire Pudding Express are back once again. No sort of teams all are chasing the UAE clan team last week. Very strong teams, but we also have the Eintracht Radsport team. We've got Belgian Waffles and Beast Mode powered by Rose. And the Waffles team have been traditionally one of our strongest teams, but they're joined by a huge field of riders. In fact, we've had to add extra pages to our commentary notes just because of the volume of riders.
We have indeed. So there are 70 riders on the start sheets today in category 1 alongside the 7 teams. Now, interestingly, David Talbot has joined the Belgian Waffles today, but others in there really looking forward to fast racing.
So our riders are lined up and ready to go, all ready to leave the start.
So in with Mr. X100 as the go takes place and they go under that start banner on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 3 in March, the last qualifier in March, and they are pushing on X100, pushing hard and ensuring he's at the front of that pack because you can see the stretch on that group, and that stretch is being caused by Mitch Ferry. Mitch Ferry has almost sprinted off the start today. I've just seen shy of 12 watts per kilo coming from Ferry. Graves is in too. Graves, a traditional fast starter on this category 1 race, making X100, Safrazat and Sprat have to do the chasing. Now, what a stretch and what a start.
I tell you something, Mitch Ferry and Phil Graves, regular teammates on MyWhoosh. Historically, they've got the gap at the moment, and Mr. X100, the road captain from the UAE team, is having to dig in early here. He is looking to lead by example here and bring this early attack back. We have seen an explosive start from Ferry, and at the moment, the only rider who has gone with him is Phil Graves. These 2 riders are clear. And look at this. You see Pablo Popovic up there. You see Michael Knudsen, SS up there. They really are pushing on. And a real interesting addition to that team, wasn't there, Emma, that we were seeing Talbot joining in as well.
Yes, so we were mentioning Talbot's joined the Belgian Waffles squad, which I think makes them really strong. So Vanden Eckhout, Talbot, Vujassin, Martins and Van Elst in that squad this month. And look at this. This is absolutely fast and furious, this category 1 start. This pack all stretching out down the road, chasing Ferry and Graves. In fact, look at that. I think they are bringing those 2 lead riders back into the fold.
And what we are seeing as well, and we're seeing some really high numbers, as riders do not want to get distanced by this chase. They don't want to get dropped to the back of the pack. And even in the middle of this pack, we are seeing some really big numbers. We're seeing that yellow and red line flicking in. It's showing up and highlighting that the riders are really having to put some pressure down, really having to put out some watts just to stay with this leading group. We're seeing another fracturing again here. Now, Phil Graves is pushing on Martin. Martins is on his heels. Then it's SS, followed by Mitch Ferry, Michael Knudsen, Pablo Popovic, Lionel Vujassin, Christoph Thiem, and not all that far behind as well. But this group are working really hard. It looks like pretty much all of the main favourites have made this group. But Phil Graves at the moment, I'll tell you something, I know he's been out soaking up the sunshine. It's working for him.
It is indeed. Those training camps overseas in the sunshine are well and truly working for Phil Graves. But it is Safrazad in 2. Martins is there. Ferry, Sprat, Harburg, Darn, Knudsen, Vujassin, Talbot. This is the first climb on this course. The gradient is not steep, but the pushes continue to come.
And this is where you could pay. So Mitch Ferry went hard very early on the flat section. They now hit the climb, and Martin Martins is over 8 watts per kilo. He's currently kicking out well over 500 watts, and he is powering his way up here. And this is setting down a challenge for the riders who are chasing behind.
Yeah, no, I think this is intentional, Matt, because I think the course that we've on today, because of the less amount of climb than previous courses, I think it means for this group that it wouldn't be a surprise for 30 riders in this Category 1 race to be able to go into the bottom of that final Category 3 climb altogether, unless the action was like this from the start. So I think this is an absolutely intentional tactic from the start today.
I'm glad you put that caveat in on the end. I wondered where you were going. My face probably showed that because the riders on their way, setting off at this speed, there is no way there's going to be 30 riders into the final climb. They'll be lucky if there's 10 riders in that leading group, I suspect. And we have an absolutely class field here on Qualifier Race 3. Remember, it is 2 qualifying rides to count. So these riders are absolutely flying. You can see just coming on to the boardwalk and pushing onwards. At the moment, they have covered 3 kilometers, and we've already seen some incredible race action. Now, good to see Jeff Muse up here, the Canadian, just closing down some of those gaps, watching a little bit further back down the group. Looks like all of our regulars are in there, as well as some new names now. Now, just looking, just in Adriana Zanaska in there, just looking down. Oya is back in with us, Hawaii in there as well. We're riding in with Jeff Muse at the moment, and Muse well tucks into this group. He's a very experienced rider when it comes to esports, but looking very, very good at the moment, and nicely out and hidden. Bruce Bird back in here, and a rider who moved up, just seen Nicholas Spratt, very, very well hidden in this group, but tucked in comfortably in there. Now, as we watch these riders come in through, interesting to see that we've got Zach Nair in here as well. Zach looking like he is in with these riders, and we saw him ride into the finale really strongly, but then struggle on that big climb. Will today be better suited to him? It may well be that this slightly more aggressive profile from the start, but with a slightly shorter climb at the back, will make a difference. So that's our Category 1. Let's dive across to our Category 3. These are the leaders of Category 3. We have Cusimano and Parisi with Michael Phillips, the leading 3. They have a few seconds up ahead of the chasers. However, Cusimano is pushing on here. They can't afford to relax because they will get closed down. The riders behind are working hard, but at the moment, Cusimano looking good.
Yeah, and Parisi and Phillips are the 2 riders chasing. And I'll tell you what, if that group comes together, Matt, and that becomes a group of 3, that is a really strong group leading that Category 3 race. And that would be really interesting to see, because I think they'd then be able to stay away. So that could be actually even a group of 4.
Yep, group of 4, because that's Daniel Gomez of Valencia who is chasing behind, and Valencia is pretty close. He is making up the ground. You can just see him coming now up behind. So here he comes. Then look at that. Daniel Gomez Valencia came across that gap. I mean, he absolutely rocketed across. He could see the train was leaving the station. He wanted to be on with it. So that is our category riders in front here of Alessio Caligula and Moreno at the moment, with the gap of 20 seconds or so to the pack. Lopez, Mr. G, Gates, Cadiz and co are chasing Caligula, and Moreno are already motoring well on the front of this group. They are currently on the descent. They're near the base of the descent, but remember, the next climb will come very fast.
It will indeed. So we've got a 2-man breakaway as well in this Category 2 race, and I think they are all playing for, can we get out far enough before that climb comes at the end?
Well, without giving away any spoilers, Emma, I'm getting a bit of deja vu.
I know. It's a bit freaky in this studio, isn't it?
It is. Maybe. Why would that be, Emma?
Well, Could they have watched the women's race?
Maybe they did in the warm-up, because I tell you something, it was an absolute cracker, and we've got another set of fireworks going off at the front this time round. It looks to me like Pablo Popovic is the rider who is right in the mix for the UAE clan team, but you can see behind, everybody is responding here. Nobody wants to get left out, and this is where you've got to choose. Do you work to pull back people when they put in these attacks? Popovic continuing to push here. We saw him just go over the top of Ferry with the red helmet. Popovic with the blue behind. Michael Knudsen with zero helmet and zero hair, the most aerodynamic head in esports, on his way up here. And Michael Knudsen has become the rider to beat, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. So traditionally, we used to have a phrase in the commentary box a few months ago called, "Who can beat Michael Vink?" We've now got a phrase, "Who can beat Michael Knudsen?" Because Knudsen has had a win now in the rounds Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2. Now, will he take Qualifier 3, or will Said Safrazad, who has been second to his first in both of those efforts, be able to beat him like he did in the February final?
Well, I'm just taking a little bit of a look through our notes here, because although we don't have another Michael in there, because we've had Michael Vink and Michael Knudsen, we do have Mikhail in here, Mikhail Utkin, so maybe Mikhail is the new Michael.
Well, you never know. And maybe in April we'll see a change at the top. But Knudsen at the moment riding really hard and really strong, as we would expect wherever he has located his turbo around the world.
Come on, let's into the secret. We know where he is in the world.
I understand he's riding from an Airbnb today.
Well, let's see if he's got his setup absolutely nailed. That's a great thing about esports and great thing about MyWhoosh, wherever you are in the world, and you can see that with the flags on the countries on the right hand side from these various nations. There are riders all around the world competing, and you don't have to be in your home pain cave, custom built with all surround sound and the big TV screen. You can literally do this on your phone. You can, because of course MyWhoosh is available on Android, on iOS, as well as on Windows. So whatever setup you've got, you can get out and ride. All you need is that internet connection and get yourself on there. Make sure you set up and go. And Michael Knudsen proving that he's right in the mix, and he is at the moment on the chase. He's chasing these riders, and this gap, these are strong riders, but not going to say they're going to make it to the finish, because I can't see that happening.
Well, at the moment we've got Graves, Ferry, Popovic and SS. These four riders are around 5 seconds clear of the chase group, and it's Vujassin and Mer that are on the front of that chase group at the moment, pushing on and trying to bring them in. But this front four are continuing to put the power down, and there's some great power coming out of Phil Graves at the moment. Popovic, SS and Ferry pushing on. So two lots of two teammates, Matt.
Two lots of two teammates, but there is a chase coming behind. You can see a fifth rider behind, but I'm actually just checking. He's one of our lap riders. So in fact, the nearest rider is that big group that are just visible in the distance behind them. These four riders are working hard now. They got that gap going into the top of the climb, and what is really key, just as you would find riding in a road race or similar, as you come into the top of the climb, if you can accelerate over the top and into the descent, you will open a much bigger gap than if you try and accelerate into the base of the descent. And that means that the gap can open. It leaves some gap for the air to get in and for that draft to apply to the group behind you as well as the group in front. But the chasing group is bigger, so it does have the advantage if everybody works. That is not going to be the case. You wouldn't chase your teammate down normally, unless you weren't confident they were going to be in at the finish. You would leave it to everybody else so that they wear their legs out. And it could well be that we are seeing some of the teams using riders to try and wear out the rest of the team. So left-hand side, category 1, 4 riders down the road. Right-hand side, these are the leaders on the road. They are currently about 9 kilometers in front. Then just in with Hamid Kamze here in with this pack of category 4 riders on the right hand side of your screen, and it looks to me like pretty much all the names we would expect in with our leaders on the road. They are approaching that 18 kilometer marker, just less than 9k covered for our category 1. Sandwiched in between we have categories 2 and 3 who are chasing. Category 2, well, at the moment, Caligula and Moreno, the 2 attackers, are still clear. They have a gap of 15 to 20 seconds. It's been yo-yoing up and down as they come in and through. It's substantially enough to not be able to see the chasers most of the time. However, this is a good group of very talented riders, and I would not put any amount of money on anyone staying clear. You've got riders like Gates in here, you've got Rodriguez, Abello, Krasnich. We've seen them week after week after week work so well.
Yeah, we have indeed, but interesting to see the tactics of these race teams off the start are very, very similar, and it's going to be very interesting to see if those groups can catch, but the distance is not huge at the moment. So we've got Graves, Ferry, SS and Popovic, the 4 leading riders in this category 1 race, with a gap of about 18 seconds. In fact, SS has just been distanced a little bit off of that group. So Ferry, Graves and Popovic pushing on. SS, the rider, chasing here and chasing hard, trying to get back onto that lead group. 2 to 3 seconds to those 3 riders in front. 15 seconds now to the chase group behind. Looking like if SS turned and looked over his shoulder, he wouldn't see that group anymore.
Well, he needs to keep focus in front, not behind, because this is the key moment. As you roll into an ascent, you can see that on the graphic top right-hand side. They're just coming into the climb. This is the moment where he's got the momentum and speed on the flat land coming in. The group in front have slowed because they're on the climb. The faster he can get onto this group, the better here. If he's not made contact by the time he gets to the top of the climb, he will not see them again because they'll be going over and it will expand back out. And that compression and that expansion, just as you find coming in and out of corners out on the road or on a cyclocross race or a mountain bike race, is exactly the same that you get on esports. But SS makes contact. He got his timing right there. If you're going to get distance, make sure you get back on coming into that climb. Now, Graves on the front, pushing hard to try and keep this pace nice and high. So it's Graves, Ferry, Popovic and SS left-hand side of your screen. The chase behind. Well, we're in with Mr. X100. No surprise, he's not leading this chase because he's got 2 teammates down the road. And I think Mr. X100 at the moment will be sitting there just making sure he doesn't work too hard, not put too much effort in. But I think the pressure's starting to come on. We're starting to see it string out at the front, Emma.
Yeah, and it is starting to string out a little bit as those riders want to catch the 3-4 riders down the road. Just to mention though, Matt, I've just seen Nicholas Spratt in that chase group. You know, it's fantastic to see the progression from our category 2 riders moving into category 1, but it's Said, Safrazad, Knudsen and Vujasin who are the riders ensuring they make the juncture to the group at the front. And you know what? I think this could take the 4 at the front to about 8 or 9, and now that would be a really good group. Riders like Martins are going to have to watch out that they don't get caught on the wrong side of this gap.
Well, look at the speed they're coming up. The leaders are going to have to react very quickly. So left-hand side, you could just see those 3 riders coming through. This is going to make it 7 riders at the moment. And I don't think anybody else has been able to get across with those 3 chasers. And this, if everybody gets it together, is going to be a much stronger group. Not just because they have almost doubled those numbers, but because who has come across?
Well, I'm looking at who hasn't come across at the moment, and Zach Nair is one of the riders who's been caught on the other side of that gap. Nair been putting in some really good rides recently. Talbot hasn't made it either, and neither has Martins. All riders who have been riding really strongly recently.
Well, we're just taking a look down here at the front. Behind it is absolute carnage. The group is split up. There is rider after rider trying to get across. This group is under pressure as well as we come up here. Great shot here from our camera shot up above Martins here. You can see it is an absolutely mad scramble for wheels. Everybody is giving it everything at the moment. Look at the amount of red and yellow on your screens. That is because the riders are having to push, and this is dangerous. Riders will get caught on the wrong side of this gap. So we saw the move across some of the biggest race favourites with Vujasin, with Martins, with riders like Knudsen going over. All of a sudden, everybody's like, we can't let this go. We've got to get up there. The ones at the front are able to see that the easiest they've pushed on, and this is when everybody wants to go. And I think that is Mr. X100 trying to bridge across here to this leading group. He's going to do this. He's going to smash straight through the middle of them, I think.
Do you know what? That's effort out of X100 to close that gap. Nearly hit 11 watts per kilo. Oof. That's the amount of power he had to put down to close that gap. Now, that gap has slowly been being closed by riders. Now, will everybody make this? Because if you look at that top right-hand corner graphic, it still is not a tight bunch. It's still very spread across the road.
Well, just watching these riders start to come together, we are seeing another reformation of this pack. It has compacted, Grupo Compacto, as the saying goes. Will they break away? Will we start to see another move? Classic counter attack is to go once that group comes back together again, but it could be that nobody's got the legs, but the course profile is such that we've got another little bit of a steep rise before the top. And this time at the top of this summit, we have another relatively flat top section. So it's not a knife edge climb. If you've seen any of the footage from Wollongong, if you've ridden on Wollongong, you'll know that on the top of those climbs, they are an absolute knife edge. You're either going up very slowly or you're going down very quickly. And if you are caught the wrong side of that edge with no riders to hold on to, the gap will open right up here. There is a chance to get back in with the group by motoring on the top of the climb rather than on the face of it, but you've got to be quick. Now, this looks to me like this is going to be our leading group. I think Von Haren and Howeiler are going to be now in trouble. Howeiler, the only rider really with a realistic chance of coming back on, but he's got to do it, and he's got to do it now.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to happen, Matt. I think this group are going to continue to keep the pace high and continue to push on. You can see that 3-4 riders across the road at the moment rather than that long stretch. But taking a look across the other categories, we've got a group in category 2, we've got 3 lone riders in category 3, and we've got a chase going on in category 4 at the moment, unless actually I think those category 3 riders have taken the lead on the road, you know, Matt. Oh, maybe not quite.
They have. They've gone past them by 100 meters, I think. I'm just taking a little look at the scenery as they go in and past. So just taking a look. No, they're not.
They're not. They're on a different bend.
Well, they are indeed. There is a little bit of distance between. So category 4 at the moment, having covered 22.5k, 21.5 kilometers for category 3. 16 kilometers for category 2 and 13.5 for category 1. So our riders are still in start order in red, blue, green and yellow of 4, 3, 2 and 1 respectively. The riders are breaking up. Interesting, it's Kalangad and Novella who've gone clear at the front of category number 4. Some of our really regular riders. So back to category 1. Looks like another attack on the move. This time around, who is going for it? Who is pushing on? Looks like, oh, no surprises.
It's Mitch Ferry.
What, do you know what? We should just record. We could do this. We could just record. Oh, Mitch Ferry's gone on the attack again.
Well, funnily enough, it's Graves who's closed the gap down as well. So the 1-2, Ferry and Graves, have gone again. They went from the start, Ferry and Graves have pushed on again at coming up for 15 kilometres into this race. They are absolutely on fire today and continually attacking. Now it's Popovic who is at the front of the chase group behind with Knudsen and Vujasin is in there, Dan is in there and Bjarhead as well. So is SS. These are the riders we would expect to see watching the break. And after having just pulled the break back in, there's another one gone down the road.
And no surprises with it being Graves and Ferry. I think for me the biggest surprise is people didn't go with them knowing that this was likely to be the result as they came into the descent, and it's making the rest of the teams work. Now, roll the clock back 6 months, maybe 7 months ago, maybe 9 months ago actually, we were seeing, a long time ago, you were seeing a dominant UAE clan team, and what we saw was riders realizing they had to attack and put the team under pressure. We saw that eventually pay off. We saw the rise of Michael Vink. We then saw the UAE clan team respond and work out their tactics to be able to deal with that. Now, we've had a dominant team in UAE clan team for the last couple of weeks. They've been looking stronger. They've been right at the top. And now we're seeing that aggression again. We're seeing that attack. It continues to roll around. So very much seeing here almost a repeat of a while ago where you got this change, and it's the Yorkshire Pudding Express who are putting in those attacks. They were traditionally notorious for being an aggressive team that tried to break the racing up, that forced the others to react, to instigate the action that's happening again here. And it's great to see that we've got some of our regular riders that are really pushing on, as well as some new riders. David Dunn doing a really good ride here, not only staying in the group but also doing some of the work on the front here. So David Dunn, the rider we're in with at the moment, heart rate 149, great pedal cadence, 91 revs per minute. When we talk about a pedal cadence, what you're looking for is you want something when you are moving at pace that is responsive. If you sit at 50 revs per minute, pedal cadence of 50, it's very hard to be flexible, to flick up and down and respond to the other rider's movement. So if you're riding a solo time trial tradition, you would have a lower pedal cadence. Riders who ride on maybe on the track on a race where you've got, say, a points race or in the road race bunch will generally be able to move up and down those pedal cadences quicker on the way through. Now, looks like Mr. X100 is not wanting to let these riders go down the road. He knows the danger. He was one of the men responsible for bringing the UAE clan team to such prominence. He has gone down after them. He's got company in the shape of Martins and Knudsen, and I think they are going to try and pull back Grace and Ferry. The gap went to nearly 10 seconds. Now we're seeing a response.
Well, I think Martins wants to be the third rider in that breakaway group and is pushing in the power and almost doing a sprint effort here to cross that gap. Now, Martins has been on form recently. He's had some really, really strong rides this year, and I think was aiming to peak for those World Esports Championships in February, and that form has remained with him, as we can see, as he continues to push. Now, they're coming up onto back markers in this Category 2 race. So Kanth is one of the Category 2 riders. These Category 1 riders are about to swoop past on this bend. As you can see, that pack stretch again from that push from Martins to cross over to those lead 2 front riders.
And that left-hand turn, an indicator that we're heading in towards our next climb. Phil Graves is leading this Category 1 chase into the climb. And this is a little bit of a riser on the way through. Our next climb probably begins at 27k, but what you're seeing at the moment is the little kicker on the way off Category 2, sorry, the second of our climbs, our non-categorized climbs, and Graves knows these courses inside out. He's used this to his advantage, and he's staying clear of that sustained chase behind him that is holding him at the moment at 5 seconds.
Well, the other thing that Graves is doing is they're now coming up onto the back markers of the other categories, which does create a little bit of confusion because you're not sure whether you are chasing the rider that's down the road or whether it's a back marker.
And the other thing it's doing is giving draft advantage. You are getting a fractional advantage. You sit behind the rider, even if it's only a fraction of a second. Every little bit helps physically as well as mentally. Now, I think absolutely spot on call there by Emma Martins wanting to go across, and I think probably one of the key things here is that he has brought the rest of the train up with him. Stefan van Elst has come across, Popovic has come through, Van Eickhout has come through. It really is a long string of riders being brought up to Phil Graves. This, the slight rise, then we're going into the final part of the descent off of the second of our climbs, and then we have a bumpy section pretty much into climb number 3.
Yeah, we do indeed, a bit of a bumpy section, but there's no bumps in this road for the Category 1 pack at the moment because they are all back together again.
They are indeed. So Category 1 together, Category 2 at the right hand side of your screen, or 1.5 kilometers or just over, separating categories 1 and 2 leaders. And in fact, it's going to be more because this is our chasing group.
This is the chase group.
It is. Daniel Cadiz, he's pushing on here. So the Category 2 riders looking really good here. We're going to dive in for a bit more detail. Caligula still up there in that leading duo, 23 or so seconds clear of this bunch, and this bunch is across the road. They have got to be careful, haven't they? They can't afford to make life too easy for the breakaway duo because otherwise they will be carrying plenty of energy onto that final climb.
Well, this group at the moment on a downhill run at this section, so just rolling through, keeping a good strong pace actually for that as we just drop back in with our Category 1 race, and it's Martins. He closed the juncture, brought the group back and has attacked over the top. So Martins now the rider trying to go clear. Knudsen and Bird, the two riders on the front of the group chasing, with Ferry coming through to take the turn. So Martin's the rider now having this is an aggressive Category 1 race today.
Well, it's an aggressive course profile. It's not too hard, it's not too easy, it's got plenty of attack points, it's got plenty of changes of gradient. None of the climbs in the early stages are as hard as the climbs in Wollongong. This for me is a really cracking route, and I think it promotes a very aggressive race from our riders. We're seeing that definitely in Category 1 and 2, 3 and 4 at the moment, with the riders continually going, and great to see all of our categories here and all of our riders having a real battle on the way through. I mean, look at Phil Graves here. He's back, he's on form, he's seen Martins and he rockets in past him. I mean, Phil Graves, that was classic counter-attack. We're coming up on the leader. Let's go over the top and see if we can push. And look who's on his heels. Michael Knudsen. This is a dangerous move. Surely it's going to get closed down. I mean, Michael Knudsen must feel he's got a target on his back.
Well, at some point, you know, we've seen Knudsen capable of time trialling away from this group. Not normally on this course profile, but who knows what is going to happen today, because this has been so aggressive. Anybody who may well have burnt their matches early may well come a cropper in the latter stages of this race, or, well, do you know what? We may just see fireworks throughout.
I think we will, just because these riders, I mean, we've such class riders in here. You know, Bruce Bird in here, Vajassin, Knudsen, Popovich, Martins, Mayer, Nair, you name it. They are, it is a who's who of e-sports racing. And we've got such strong teams like the UAE Clan team led by Mr. X100, the Belgian Waffle Squad, the Yorkshire Pudding Express, Italian Gelato. Really is strong racing, isn't it?
It's a world-class group of riders we have got on the road in front of us today. Ferry, Safrazad, Van Elst, Mayer, Bird, you know, Martins, Knudsen, Popovich, Mr. X100, Zanaska, Vujassin, Talbot, Vanden Eckhout, Van Elst. I could keep going, but you know, it is a who's who on this race field today. And interesting here, X100 is the rider getting caught out at the moment, just a little bit off the back of this group, and pushing, as we have seen him do before, back on to the wheels of the riders in front.
Well, Mr. X100 just losing contact there. I'm not sure whether he didn't go back just to see whether or not he needed to pick up SS, his teammate, but too far back for that. So the back of this group is Mr. X100. The front of the group, we're riding in with Phil Graves, but it is an ever-revolving door at the front of the group. As you can see, these riders coming in and through, and there's a real decision to make for these riders. Do you constantly try and chase down people? Do you go on the attack and be a really aggressive using offensive tactics? Or are you defensive into the final climb, only closing down what you absolutely must, saving as much energy as possible for that final climb?
So should we talk a little bit about that final climb, Matt? Because it's really interesting. It comes at 36.8 kilometres. It's 6.2 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 5.2%. However, it's a stepped climb, and there are sections that are seriously steep, well over 10, 11, 12%. So a very different climb to the steady, long 15-kilometre climb these riders raced last week. And it'll take a different tactic, because there are flat sections and downhill sections on it where riders will either take a micro rest, or they will utilise the momentum of the downhill to give them a kicker on the next uphill section.
Well, I think that climb is going to be really, really telling. And I think because we have these three main climbs before we get there, plus a lot of trigger points, riders are going to go in with tired legs. And how riders can respond with tired legs, I mean, we see it time and time again. We're in the, you know, we're at the first monument of the season in the men's road races just happened. We are seeing tired legs taking its toll and taking effect on the riders. And that is irrespective of what category of rider, whether you're an elite rider or you're a rider further down through the categories. Now, here we go. Category 2 riders just about to be caught by Category 1. Bulgarian in here, just seeing them come in and through. So the lead of Category 1 starting to close down and pass quality riders like Bulgarian. I think we are going to see another of our Category 2 riders being caught very, very quickly. Esteban in here as well. This is going to be really, really interesting as they come up here. Which of these riders can respond? Remember, we are on a dip at the moment. We're going to go into a rise. When we go onto the rise, it's much harder for the Category 2 to stay with Category 1. Anybody who is with better quality riders, who's been out racing, knows, though, that this is when you improve. When you're riding and you're pulling yourself out with a group that is normally better than you, if you can stay with them, you are improving not just your performance on the day, but the training effect.
I love that when you say that. You know, the number of times I've gone out road riding with a group of men and been the only female rider there. Yes, I agree, it brings you on, but boy, it can half hurt sometimes.
No pain, no gain. A very old statement, but sometimes, do you know what? It's true. I'm a great believer you don't go faster by riding with people who are slower than you. You don't train faster, or even people at the same speed. You need that pull, you need that stretch, you need that incentive. And yes, we have over 700 workouts here on MyWhoosh that you can do, but racing is something else. It's not just exciting, it's not just motivational. It will give you absolutely top class performance because you are going to pull something special out. Now,
Wow.
just taking a little look further in from the front, interesting to see Van Elst on the push there, going up the climb, a name that we've not really mentioned out of these riders, deciding to come to the fore as we make our way up at 23.8k. So we are on a little rise. There's a slight, almost speed bump in the road on the way into Category 3, and that is what we're on at the moment. It does mean, though, that we are approaching the 3k to go mark to the next climb when we get to the top of this summit.
Yeah, it does indeed. As this group continue to tap on the pedals and push the power, they're moving at a fast rate, you know, so currently just shy of 50 kph at the moment. As this group continue to roll, they continue to eat up the kilometers on this MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Now, further down the road, coming up for the 30-kilometer mark, moving over the bridge, is indeed this Category 3 race field. And it's Dumoulin at the front here. They are 13 seconds behind the pack of Category 4 riders who are currently the leading riders on the road. In fact, on that top right-hand corner graphic, you can see that red blob ahead. So the Category 3 lead pack are about to catch the Category 4 lead pack. There is only 160 meters separating the two as we see Phillips push off the front here. So Phillips pushing hard, trying to ensure that the group stays away. But in fact, actually, Michael Phillips is a Category 3 rider. That, Matt, is a breakaway that we've missed. So Phillips has gone off the front of the Category 3 race, overtaken the leaders on the road of the Category 4 race, and the pack of Category 3 have yet to make the catch.
Well, we saw him riding strongly, didn't we, in that leading group. We didn't realise maybe quite how strong to go through, but now he's going to be looking for a little bit of assistance, isn't he? Because one man on his own is always going to have a tougher time than a group, particularly on this section, because we're coming in to a long downhill. He needs to get some assistance. Now, taking a look back, Higula and Moreno are still holding out at the front here, and the duo riding strongly, they are coming in to the climb at 26.5k, so they are about to come onto the lower slopes. There's a little bit of a step before we hit the climb number 3 proper at 27.1k. That's this little rise coming up, but with 20 plus seconds, they are doing a great job here.
Yeah, they're holding that gap, aren't they, to the group behind? And I'm wondering how long they can hold that gap. So this is the 3rd climb they are currently about to approach out of 4 climbs. And that 4th climb comes at 36 kilometers. It is indeed our final Category 3 climb. So let's take a quick look, Matt, shall we, at the 4 race categories.
So category 1, your elite category riders at just over 25.5 kilometers. Chasing category 2 at 26.75 kilometers. They have a big gap to the leaders of category 3, because that is going to be Demanion, who's currently at 31.25K, with the group coming up fast. The category 4 just in front. In fact, it's chasing category 3, because chasing the riders in category 4, the riders in 4 in the lead at 31.6, so there's not a lot of difference between them. So 1 still chasing 2, 2 chasing 3, 3 about to make the catch to 4, with the exception of Phillips, who is your lone leader in category 3, who has already made that junction. Really interesting to see. And remember, of course, those times shown on the top: 58 minutes of racing for category 4, 53 for category 3, 43 for category 2, and 38 minutes for category 1, who have already covered 26.5 kilometers. Absolutely ferocious pace on the terrain our riders have in front of them. And category 1 are motoring, aren't they?
They are absolutely motoring. In about 850 meters time, they're going to see that lead group of category 2 riders ahead of them. They are bringing that gap down really quickly today, our category 1 riders. Category 3 already made the catch to category 4. Category 1, I think, will be the next group to make the catch, and that will be the category 2 pack that started 5 minutes ahead of them.
Wow, Mr. X100 up onto the front, wanting to keep this pace hot. He's coming in to this start. We're not quite onto the climb proper yet. This is the little kicker coming in, but I think he's doing this to nullify what is likely to come from Graves and Ferry, which is another attack. So he's gone onto the front. He's sitting at 8 watts per kilo here, and we know Mr. X100 can sit at a pace, continue to push and extend his legs, really make everybody else work. And is this the UAE clan team saying, well, do you know what? The best form of defense is offense. Let's get out early with them. Let's stifle any really quick attacks by pushing on at the front and stringing the group out. And you can see on the top right-hand side of your screen, it's breaking, it's fracturing, it's reforming as everybody scrambles to get on the wheels.
Yeah, and this climb that they are on now is a third climb stage. It's 3.35 kilometers in length. It's only got an average gradient of 1.1%. But do you know what, Matt? Sometimes you don't need it to be steep to put an attack in.
In fact, sometimes it's better not to be too steep, because the distance between you and the other riders stays relatively big. And remembering, at 40 kilometers an hour, there is a serious draft advantage to sitting in a wheel. If you are able to break that gap, you are putting the riders behind at a disadvantage. So having a faster climb can sometimes really make a difference. Now we're just taking a look down at the fight between our category 3 riders, who are catching the leaders in category 4. So this is category 4 leaders being caught by category 3, and we're just taking a look for Phillips. Has he gone off the front? No, he's not. He has been pulled back. So the leaders of category 3 are all together. Category 4, though, it's like they saw, oh, we're about to get caught. I better get a move on here, because we are seeing another push on the front. Finati has gone off the front with Suarez and Novello, and it looks to me like they surely don't want to be caught. Finati pulled back. Now it's Novello and Suarez at the front of the race, but their gap is 3 seconds. They must know that their days are numbered up on the front.
Well, they saw that pack coming, didn't they, Matt? And they pushed on at the front. So Novello and Suarez wanting their swan song, wanting to be out on the front of that group first. And now looking like the category 3 and category 4 lead packs are going to bring them back in. Then we're going to have one massive group with 2 race fields riding as a pack.
Indeed we are, and this is what's about to happen. They're about to be closed down. So the leaders of category 3 and the leaders of category 4 are now back together again as they make their way down the road. Great to see that the category 4 riders have been so fiercely defensive of being in the front of the race overall on the road, but now they are joined. So 3 and 4 are all together. They are being chased by 2 and by 1. This is your Category 1 riders on the left of your screen, your Category 2 riders on the right-hand side of your screen. So let's see what's happening. How far apart are they? Well, the answer is not very far at all. I make that to be something close to half a kilometre, 540 metres was my calculation there. What about you, Emma? You're the master.
You see, I'd have been more generous and said 530.
But
it's not very far. It is not very far on the attacking nature of the front of this field. In fact, it's Talbot who's gone off the front this time. So Talbot, one of our newer riders to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, absolutely telling the older, longer serving riders that he's here and he means business, pushing on at the front. So X100, Knudsen, Dunn, Vanden, Eckhout, Graves, Bjarhead, all of these riders pushing through and starting to bring back others.
Well, this is the key moment as you go up onto the top of the climb. Spring a gap in now, you will be able to open it. You put even more pressure. Use that terrain to your advantage. So this is the push. If you kick over the top here, everybody else is going to be on the climb whilst you are on the descent. You're getting gravity on your side whilst they have it against them on the way up, but you've got to do that over the crest. Watch the percentage gradient top right hand side of your screen as these riders come up over the top. They're trying to put a gap in. They're trying to break this group up. It's stretching. That line is getting longer as they go over the top. Now take a look back. It's one long line. Everybody knows they have to get on the wheels and they have to do so quickly. And the riders behind have the work to do. That's another effort made for the riders at the back of that group to get back into the pack. I mean, the pace over the top there, we are talking 35, 40k an hour over the top of the climb and into the descent with the speed picking up now. That is brutal, isn't it, Emma?
It is indeed, and we've got some small groups forming, but nothing really big at the moment, Matt. So I suppose what we're hoping is, or at least what those attacking are hoping, is that the legs are starting to feel it of the riders behind, and that'll come to fruition on the climb on the latter stages of this race today. But it's Graves out at the front, continuing to push, and a very aggressive rider today. Phil Graves continuing to work on the front. X100 is the rider coming over. Theme is there as well, and that's probably one of the first times that we've seen Theme up at the front of the pack.
Yep, definitely now Knudsen comes up. The warning alarm bells will be going everywhere where Knudsen moves up to the front. He doesn't need his numbers highlighted for everybody to have a marker on him that he is a rider you cannot let go. I'll tell you something, Mr. X100 and Phil Graves battling it out at the front of the race. It's like going back to 2022, to the spring of 2022. It was amazing racing then, it's amazing racing now. And although we have seen an absolute myriad of changes, what hasn't changed is our riders really do make the racing here. They are putting in some great performances, and we are seeing some incredibly strong riders battling it out once again. We are into our descent from the penultimate climb. We are at 31.3k covered, and our riders now know that the next time they go uphill in any substantial manner, apart from those few little speed bumps, the undulations on the way in, it is going to be on that final climb at 38.8 kilometers. That will take them up to the top of the hill. This is going to be a really telling run in here. Remember, we finish at 45 kilometers at the top of the climb. These riders will know that they've got to have something left in their legs, but it's been so aggressive.
It has been so aggressive, and one of the things I like, Matt, is that we've got riders from all over the world being aggressive in this race and in this lead pack today. It doesn't matter whether they are in the United States, they are in South America, they are in Australasia, they are in Europe, they're in the Middle East. They are everywhere, all around the world today, but together racing on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
They are all categories, all performances, all sorts of different riders from all over the globe coming together and racing. And in fact, we are still yet to realise my ambition of a rider riding in Antarctica. So if you are the first rider riding in Antarctica on the 7th of our continents that we want, please do get in touch when you do. So maybe you're going to be down on the base.
Calling all researchers doing cold weather research.
Definitely, you know where the next step after that's going to be out to space. That would be even better, but that's maybe a little way off,
I think.
So here we are, back to the racing leading pack of Category 1 riders together. This started off as a huge set of riders, so big that we needed to extend our commentary notes. We are now down to the cream of the crop, and another push on the front, really making these riders work. Phil Graves has gone up the road after Mr. X100 immediately. I mean, these two protagonists have history. They have gone back. They have fought it out for the win for, well, as long as I can remember. And I've been on the platform for probably close to about 14, 15 months now. We've done a year's worth, coming up for nearly a year's worth of MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club coverage. And you know what? It's great to see them in action.
Well, it's seeing them in action at the moment because that Category 1 race field know that in front of them is this Category 2 race field. And we've seen Knudsen push on hard past back markers and category riders, and to make that the place of attack. Now X100 is the rider on the front. Phil Graves 2 seconds back, Mitch Ferry 6 seconds further back, and then the following pack. But these two riders, X100 and Graves, are the riders coming onto the back of this Category 2 race field. We've got a chaser from the pack behind to try and make that 3 now, and that is indeed Michael Knudsen.
So Knudsen's coming, come on, old school, this is where it counts. You've got to be in there. Yes, this is your chance to break it up. There's a big pack advantage to be gained. And look at this, 3 riders going clear. We've got Knudsen, we've got Mistakes 100, we've got Phil Graves, but the rest of the group are coming after them. This is going to be carnage. They're going to come together, they're almost going to implode, and then it's going to explode once again as they come out the other side. Who will come out with a clean gap to the riders behind? Who is getting that dirty air? This is where it's going to be key. Don't let anybody go at this moment in time. We are in that dip, we are in that run between, and I'll tell you something, this is going to benefit those Category 2 riders because they are going to be able to jump in with Category 1. This is going to be an incredibly fast-moving and huge road train.
Well, like we saw with Category 3 and Category 4, when that came together, the front of Category 1 has now come together with the front of Category 2, and the strong Category 2 riders have been able to slot their way into that pack. So Lopez Rodriguez, Mr. G, Restrepo, all in here in this pack and in the mix with these Category 1 riders. Now, this, I think, is the Category 1 pack just down the road. So this is the chase group in Category 1. This is Van Elst. Popovic is here as well. Bjarhead, Ferry. These riders just getting caught out with the push on the front from the Category 1 riders. So moving on and looking at the back of that large group of Category 2 and the front of the Category 1 race.
So our riders trying to get across the gap there. This was a key moment really for the riders. They had to be making a move. They have been caught out. They're having to do a lot of work here. Now the Category 1 leaders have gone through that group. They've taken their advantage. Category 1 chasers were caught out, as I said, and just as importantly, they have had to do an absolute massive work to come across. There are still riders who have not made the junction, and this is key. Even if this is not the final selection of Category 1 riders, these are the riders who are dictating the pace to the rest of the group. These are the riders who are making the race, and behind, they are under pressure. The pressure is on the chasing group of Category 1 riders because of the advantage of sitting with the Category 2. Really, really key to stay in here, really key to stay in the position. And that moment as they were coming up, you could see the work going down, you could see the riders trying to get across. Absolutely critical they make it. We are now starting to see more and more yellow jerseys make the way to the front, but by no means everybody is there. And when we come out the other side, we'll get a much clearer picture of who has made it And who has gone by the wayside?
Well, I can guarantee we've seen Category 1 riders drop off the back of that bunch, and the Category 2 riders are scrabbling to stay with them. We've got around 1 kilometre now before we hit the base of that Category 3 climb, which sees the checkered flag at the mountain top. And these riders are now running into the foothills of that mountain, and it will be all for one and one for all at the top, I think. But look at that. That group now may have shed Category 1 riders, but it's picked up the front pack of Category 2.
And they are moving at pace. We're talking 40 kilometers an hour. This is a slight downhill in to this bridge, and then it starts to pick its way back up again. At the moment, our leader on the road is Valencia. So Daniel Gomez, Valencia leading up from Parisi, from Duque, from Dadson, Ochoa, Cusimano. They have a substantial gap still. They are over 3.5 kilometers in front. They're approaching the 40k marker at the front of this race as our fastest riders on the road. There are Category 1 leaders have caught Category 2, but, and it is a big but, they are a long way behind, even though they're moving fast and yet to hit the base of the climb. Meanwhile, we are going to see if these riders are going to be able to stay clear in front. So here we go. We are heading in towards the finale here of the Sunday Race Club Qualifier Race number 3 here on MyWhoosh. And our riders in Category 1 and 2, the leaders are all together. And this pack now picking up speed, picking up pace.
Yeah, so whilst we took a look at the leader in the Category 3 race, this pack here have sat up and you can see the width across the road. It's allowed 1 or 2 more Category 1 riders to make the juncture back onto the back of this group. So this group growing now a big, strong size, but you can see now on that shot back, there is nobody else to join this group in the distance. So a large group now of Category 1 and Category 2 riders all together here, and just looking back to see who hasn't made this group, and well, I think all our key protagonists have made the juncture. So Graves is in here, Van Elst, Zanaska is in here, Talbot is in here. There are other strong riders in this group as well.
So just taking a look up onto the front of this group, I'm just looking around the corner at the riders in front. Who is in front of this group? We have a group of riders up there, and I want to know who is in that pack. Now, right hand side of your screen, it is SS. I thought we had a little bit of a fracture. So SS at the moment is at 36.7. He is currently a little bit further back down this group, but you can see that is a lot of riders all fractured all the way in and across this group here, and the roadway has had some absolutely devastating action unfold on it, because you can see SS, one of our regulars, is now in trouble. So as we scroll our way up towards the top of the screens, as we work our way up towards the top of the pack, he's got a big gap to come across to make the junction, but there are riders in front of our leading pack of Category 1, and are we going to see the same again as they come up on them? So left hand side of your screen, these are our Category 1 riders, and now they're coming up on the group. Emma, are we going to see the same sort of carnage as they come on riders now up the road, or are there just too few of them?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? I think at some point we will see more pushes on this group, and we will see more attacks go down, but currently they're quite comfy in this pack, just going past a couple of Category 3 riders. But interestingly, the Category 2 riders who have been able to jump in, so Kranich is in there, Bogran, Brignall is in there, Mr. G, Ospina is in there. So some strong Category 2 riders, and this will become the top 5 in the Category 2 race as well.
Now, we had seen a breakaway go clear at the front of Category 2. This was Cusimano who had gone clear, but Cusimano is the rider coming back. We said there were riders up the road. Sorry, Caligula up the road there. He's the rider who's up the road in Category 2. He's got a gap, and Caligula at the moment has got a gap. He has got with him company, but they are being closed down, and Category 2 racing is coming back together because of the catch by Category 1. Top right hand side of your screen, you see those little dots up there?
Yeah.
They are the riders who are the very front of Category 2. There are 2 breakaway riders who are being closed down, and that is being done by the pace of the Category 1 rider. Here we go, brilliant. Right hand side of your screen, Caligula and Moreno, they are the 2 leaders. Behind you, you can see the bends. You can see the same bit of screen. coming into town. So just past the first buildings, that is the lead of Category 2. Hitting the buildings now, that is the chasing group of 2 who are in with Category 1.
Well, these two need to push on now if they want to stand any chance of staying away. But I think that is a pipe dream, you know, Matt, because I think Caligula and Moreno are going to be caught regardless of what they want to do themselves. So Birdie's one of the riders leading that pack, but Lopez and Simeo, Mr. G, those Category 2 riders are the ones who really want to make this juncture before the climb gets really steep. So Moreno and Caligula need to push on and push on hard now to get onto the steeper slopes before this pack come.
Oh, but look at that train coming behind. Here they come. They're on the way. A bit like Jaws, so you can see them coming up behind, and they're about to get swallowed up. But who can go? It looks to me like Caligula was able to go with the very front of that group, but this is where this Category 1 race will be won or lost. They hit the slopes, we're on to the final climb, and we are already seeing a screen full of red numbers up there. You can see rider after rider digging deep into that red zone. They're pushing on, they ease off a little bit, it pushes again, and already we have seen a lot of damage done. We're seeing a lot of those Category 2 riders dispatched from the lead group. We are also seeing a number of Category 1 riders now in trouble. The front of this group in Category 1 are going to be the ones who are dictating the pace. You can see that yellow blob up in front here. We're in with Bruce Bird, and a great shot here of those riders who are really pushing. At the moment, Bird has some work to do. He can't drop too far back, because if a gap goes, he's not going to be in a position to respond to it. Great to see up at the front, though. We've got people like Popovic, Sanaska, Knudsen in there. They're really mixing it up. Vujasin is, though, who is leading this out. Is it going to be Lionel Vujasin's day on the mountain? He's certainly looking strong at the moment.
Well, it would be a different name to take the top spot today if Vujasin could make it, but there's just over 5 kilometres to go now, and realistically the only way is up now for these riders as they continue to push and they continue to work. Popovic, Vujasin, Zanaska, Safrazad, Knudsen, class riders, as we've said, at the front of this field, all battling it out now for the win.
So David Talbot still in this mix. So Zach Nair is in the fight as well. We have a very select group. That looks to me to be 7 riders being joined by one more. That's going to make 8 at the moment. Very, very close though.
Yeah, well, one of the interesting things to note, Matt, is whilst this is the front of the Category 1 race, there are still 29 riders on the road up ahead of this group.
That is a huge number. So 6K. 29 riders to catch to get to the very front of the race for Lionel Vujasin, and these riders know that they've got their work cut out. This is the man right at the very front of those riders, Daniel Gomez Valencia. He's doing an absolutely storming ride. Look at that pedal cadence as well. 90 revs per minute, smooth on his way up here, really riding at a nice tempo on his way up to here and holding a good pace. Okay, it's a level section at the moment, looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. That section has leveled off a bit for him where he is on this climb at the moment, and we did say that at the start of the program. You know, this isn't a steady climb at all. This is a stepped climb with some steep sections, some flat sections, and some downhill sections on it. So the average gradient of 5.2% is very deceptive.
Well, Michael Knudsen pushing on at the front of this race, looking to start to snap the riders behind. They were a group of 7, 8 riders. 3 have been detached already. 5 riders together now. And it looks to me like it's Vujasin, Knudsen, Safrazad, Popovic and Zanaska who are the riders in Category 1 who are left in the mix. Chasing is Zach Nair. He is the nearest rider at 5 seconds down on our leaders. So at the moment, Zach Nair trying to push up into the top 5, but any of these top 5 could explode at any moment when the riders run out of steam, when they run out of energy, and they get the famous hitting the wall or getting the bunk. They are going to go very much pop. There's just no way that you're going to be able to keep this pace going. They've got to get their fueling right. They've got to get their pacing right. They can't go too far in the red zone. So much for these riders to make sure they get correct whilst focusing on the race tactics and on putting down the maximum performance. Okay, taking a look. Left-hand side, you've got your race lead. Right-hand side, we're in with SS. He was right in with our leaders. He's now currently at 40.4k. So SS being distanced here by that leading group of elite riders, but still pushing on at 30 seconds. And we know that SS will time trial his way up here and close down those positions. So SS on the right-hand side of your screen, left-hand side of your screen, it's Saeed Safrazad, who is now on the attack. Safrazad goes, but Knudsen responds immediately to that. He pushes on to get on to the wheels. Safrazad and Knudsen has a very familiar ring about it when you're coming into a climb and up into towards the top of a climb. So Saeed Safrazad now keeps the pace ticking onwards. They are our leaders a little bit further down, a big chasing group here. Mr. X100, Vidal Mayer, looks like Martin Harburg, it's got Zach Nair in there. They aren't leading at the chase at the moment. It's Mr. X100 who is on the chase. So deja vu feeling again here. Mr. X100 now trying to time trial his way across to the leaders. We've seen him do it before. Can he do it again? He's on the pursuit of the race lead after the initial skirmishes are done with. Can he make that junction? We will see. So 2 sets of riders on the road. Your leaders in category 1 on the left of your screen, your chasers, and your solo chase coming from Mr. X100. Now, this is going to be job done for Daniel Gomez Valencia. He comes in to 45k, so Valencia is going to be a job done here today. Our category leader comes in and through. It is complete for him. So let's see what he's done. He's finished his race well clear of the chasers behind. So we are going to try and focus on category 1. This is a decisive moment here as they come up this climb. Let's see who's going. Can he make it, Emma?
Well, it's a good question, isn't it? Because Safrazad is pushing on with Knudsen here, and this has been the 1-2 all month. Knudsen has taken it from Safrazad in the 2 qualifiers so far, but Safrazad took it from Knudsen in the final in February. So these are absolutely the 2 on-form riders, but Vujasin and Zanaska are pushing hard behind. Vujasin just 2 seconds down, Zanaska 5. Zanaska's been getting stronger and stronger all month. He was 5th in qualifier race number 1, 3rd in qualifier race number 2, and continuing to show that form in the race today. Popovic is the rider, probably falling out of the back there of that group of 5, because now there's 13 seconds back to Popovic, and we've got a chase group behind being led by X100 with Nair, van den Eckhout, Harburg, who's the Swedish Esports Championship winner, all coming fast behind.
So Mr. X100 trying to bridge from Group 2 to Group number 1, which has fractured Popovic and Zanaska together. Knudsen looks like he's got some company as well. But I tell you something, this is still with plenty of action going to unfold in front of us, because I do not think it's necessarily going to stay this way to the top. You can see at the moment Safrazad and Knudsen are battling it out for the win, but one mistake by these riders and the rest are ready to pass, and we've a long way to go. It may only be 1.9k, but they are a substantial 1.9 kilometers.
Yeah, they are indeed, and they will continue to go up as Safrazad goes into the tunnel first. Knudsen goes in second place. Vujasin is in 3. So these riders now clear of Popovic in 4. So Knudsen in 1, Safrazad right on his wheel. These 2 riders currently side by side at the moment. Vujasin doing an outstanding job in 3rd place, with Popovic in 4th in this category 1 race. Absolutely working hard
They are working hard. Here they come. They're on their way up here. It looks to me like Knudsen and Safrazad are going to be our duo, but Vujasin's only about 9-10 seconds behind, and you can gain and lose so much time here. Look at Mr. X100. He has motored up. He has caught and passed Zanaska. He's caught and passed Popovic. We've seen this time and time again, getting stronger and stronger and stronger at the finish. He is in pursuit of Knudsen and Safrazad. He's got Vujasin in front. This is going to be a really telling. Zanaska is looking to try and answer some kind of move here. He's not necessarily going to make it. Popovic has gone with Mr. X100. So those positions in the top 5 by no means set in stone. Saeed Safrazad leading his way up here. He's at 43.8 kilometers. It's about 200 meters down the road to Mr. X100, who is still in pursuit. Sandwiched in between is Michael Knudsen and Lionel Vujasin, and they know that they have got the express train in pursuit behind. He's coming up behind him. Will he be able to make contact? It levels out a bit here. He's got the chance to get some assistance. And we're going to be really interested to see whether Popovic and Mr. X100 can use this to their advantage as they come up. Saeed Safrazad, though, what a ride from him. He's on your left-hand side of your screen. He's now into his final 1,000 meters. He is at 44K. Absolutely flying right by Safrazad, and he's got a gap of Knudsen of 5 seconds at the moment, and it's going out.
Well, I think he's reminding Knudsen, if Knudsen wants to win the final next week, he's going to have to work hard, because Safrazad is pushing on. They've been so competitive all month as Safrazad comes into the last 700 meters of this climb today. Knudsen is back 10 seconds back now. Vujasin is in third. There's about a 30-second gap between third and fourth at the moment, which X100 holds after having caught Popovic.
And interestingly for the team race, it is the UAE clan team with 1 and 2 in Safrazad and Knudsen. Vujasin and the Belgian Waffle squad in 3. Going to be really close here. So here we go. Safrazad has worked his way. They came into this climb. They're about 30th down on the road. He's now made it to the top 10. He's up into the top 7. How many more can he catch on his way into the line? He's absolutely flying. So Saeed Safrazad really working hard here. He's in the lead. Knudsen on that climbing the section, which is steeper at 8%. However, you can see there's another kicker coming up underneath the wheels of Saeed Safrazad on the left-hand side. We're going to have 300 meters to go as he comes into this dip. This is the rundown. Saeed Safrazad pushing on here. He has got to surely have this. No matter what Knudsen does, he's not going to get him on this dip down and climb into the line. The finish line comes. Your Category 1 winner, your race winner, is going to be Saeed Safrazad of the UAE clan team. He leads home his teammate. Michael Knudsen has been beaten here. The Knudsen mission accomplished by Safrazad, but Knudsen from the UAE clan team takes second place.
Yeah, and Lionel Vujasin is still in third, but X100 is coming into fourth place at the moment. So Vujasin is here, still riding here as we push on and push on through. Has gone through the line in third place. X100 goes through the line in fourth. Popovic looking to take fifth as he comes up and just on the line. So Popovic taking fifth from X100. Zanaska is going to be our next rider in.
So Zanaska's going to take sixth place, I think, on the line, followed by Harburg and then Zach Nair. Harburg in front of Nair. Nair's got some momentum here, not enough to catch Harburg. So Zach Nair comes through. Great riding by Nair there on that climb. Then it's going to be Vidar Meyer. Meyer is going to continue to push. I'll tell you something, the team standings are going to be tight, and it's going to be really exciting. And next week, as we come into our finals where we have those team standings, Bart van den Eekhout comes in and through the line as well, followed by Christoph Thiem. So all these riders making the way in. Don't forget that you'll be able to catch up with all of the results. Currently, a live result. It will change across to an unofficial result when all of our riders are in, and then the results will be verified. You can do that on the MyWhoosh website. That's www.mywhoosh.com. What a great win by Saeed Sanfrazad there, taking the win from Michael. Now, so Christoph Thiem going to come through as our next rider in Category 1. Some amazing riding out on the course and an absolute pleasure to watch. Emma, great racing. Where can we catch up with you if we want our riders to get in touch with you?
Oh, phenomenal racing today, Matt. And if riders want to get in contact with me, I am at Biking Emma on Instagram, or you can find both of us at Full Speed Events.
And you can catch hold of me. It is at Matt Fixerpain across all of social media. We, of course, are the voices of MyWhoosh, but we are backed up and brought to you by an amazing team behind the scenes. Got to say a big thank you to all of the team at MyWhoosh who make the racing happen, that bring you the race coverage and give us such great pictures for us to put words to the action. Don't forget, of course, it's our finals next week. Make sure if you're a rider, you get registered. If you're one of our viewers, make sure you subscribe to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. Make sure you have a watch because it's going to be an absolute cracker. So from me, Matt Payne, from Emma Martin, from all of the team here, stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.